This is Apple Treats. This is the 4th episode of the 5th season, and we have a guest, which probably you already seen. Hello, Tatyana.
Hello.
We had an episode with you a couple of months ago. We talked about the CarPlay and other stuff, but now we've heard from our listeners that they want to hear some more details on the technical topics, and internally we discussed some of the ideas on what that could be, and we came up with the topic communications in general, because when we talked about the CarPlay, there were a couple of questions about how phone communicates with the unit, and then in general, how would you make your communications between your devices, and so on and so on. And so this episode, we will try to go into more technical details about the communications between your phone and anything else. Well, we'll see how it goes. And again, since you have experience with that, it's glad that we can have you here. But quickly, can you introduce yourself? What do you do? What your primary field of work?
Oh, yeah, sure. So one more time, hello everyone. Thank you for inviting me today. So I'm working like a iOS developer last 10 years, and my main stack, it's mostly working with some devices and set up communication between iPhone and some external device. That's why for me, some communication topic, it's super close to me, to my stack, and also super interesting. And today I would like to share with you some my knowledge and my experience about that.
Great. So when we talk about communications, typically the first thing which comes to mind is Bluetooth. It was introduced many years ago, and actually I don't want to get into history of that because there are a lot of stuff happening with that, but every time you talk about devices communicating with each other, one of the first things which comes to mind is Bluetooth. And my first question would be, and Bluetooth is actually a very complex topic. When I started looking into that, there are a lot of things, and at least there are two things which we can talk about at start. So we have Bluetooth classic, or just Bluetooth in general, and we have Bluetooth low energy, BLE. So what's the deal with that? Why would you have two separate things? What separates them?
Yeah, of course, sure. Bluetooth, it's a big topic really, and many people know about Bluetooth, but not so many people know that inside Bluetooth, inside one chip, we have two different protocols and two different systems. And you're right, totally right. We have first one, it's a Bluetooth Classic. I think it was made maybe 25 years ago or something like this, really long time ago. And Bluetooth Low Energy. Let's start with the first one. It's older one. It's Bluetooth Classic. And it was created, as we mentioned before, really, really long time ago. And if I'm not mistaken, the main idea of creating Bluetooth Classic was remove cable from audio devices to make, for example, headphones, speakers, car hands-free system possible without cables. That's why was made Bluetooth Classic protocol, and it works like real connection. We have this connection all the time, and we can change. We can send over Bluetooth Classic constant. We have constant connection. We can send data all the time. For example, audio stream or something else. We have here high speed, but in Bluetooth Classic we have one big problem. It's too heavy.
So what do you mean? Too heavy for the implementation?
For battery. No.
Okay, battery. Right.
And so it was nice to have this wireless cable, let's say, but Classic is too heavy and it's not possible to use it everywhere. That's why iOS hide this technology, and it's not so easy to take a Bluetooth Classic connection and implement something custom there, because of
Okay.
too heavy and system wants to be efficient. That's why it's hide it. And after that was created another Bluetooth technology. It's Bluetooth Low Energy. And Bluetooth Low Energy has different architecture and different file philosophy, let's say. You can send, for example, if you have some device which is, I don't know, sensor or some smart, I don't know, medical sensor or smart door locks or something else, I
Right.
don't know. And you want to communicate, and you have like super small battery, and you would like to make work efficient, you can establish Bluetooth Low Energy connection.
Okay.
So how it works? You could send something awake for a small period of time, send something, and then go to sleep also for some period of time. And yeah, it's if we talk shortly about Bluetooth and Bluetooth Classic and Bluetooth Low Energy, really. Yeah.
Okay. So, well, yeah, when we talk about the iOS, we typically like hear about the core Bluetooth framework,
Yep.
and essentially we use BLE there, right? So that's
Yes.
the whole thing about the peripherals, the central managers, and everything. It's all about the BLE. I don't know. Can we call it a protocol or like
It's a
how?
protocol, yeah, I could say. And yeah, you're totally right. Like I mentioned before, Bluetooth Classic is hidden by system. That's why if you want to talk to external device, you, as usual, use Bluetooth Low Energy. And
Okay.
for this, we have special framework which is called Core Bluetooth, and you can there work with Bluetooth devices easily with this framework.
So let's try to get more specific here. Like,
Yeah, but
yeah.
I would
Yeah.
like to also add here that system also decide and provides a lot of limitation for working with Bluetooth really devices, like how often you will get a message, how iOS system also hides MAC address for each device, for every devices. So what else? Bluetooth background is unstable, totally unstable.
Yeah, that's something I would probably want to discuss. But let's start in the beginning. Let's assume I have some fancy device which, I don't know, we created, and I want to add the support for that device to my app. Like how I will be looking, how will I establish the connection from my phone to that Bluetooth device?
Yeah, sure, of course. I can simply explain this whole process. First step for connection, it's advertising. So on this step, you just send Bluetooth device just send every, I don't know, 100 milliseconds or something like this, some small message like I'm here, hello, and then we can start scanning from the iPhone, from the device. After that, we can, after scanning, when we find some peripheral, we can start connection process. And depends on if this peripheral connectable, you can establish connection. And then also you can, during the established connection, you can say how often do you want to take messages, in which format, like, and so on. You can, let's say, define a lot of stuff. And then come with the device.
You mentioned the background. When we establish this connection, do we need to do that every time when we, like, I don't know, launch an app? If the app is terminated, like, do we need to go through this like connection establishment process, or is there anything I don't know, Core Bluetooth framework can help us with?
Core Bluetooth, establish connection you can when you want. It's not obligatory to make it in launch app or in when do you want to do that. And here are some important things that, for example, you should start scanning when you have system powered on, but not before because nothing happened. And but with the background, it's a little bit hard to establish connection because system can say no and you can do it.
Do you do you have any suggestions about the background? Because again, I'm trying to think about this. Again, let's take my phone. I'm okay with establishing connection, launching an app for that. Yes, that's expected thing. But then you hope that your phone will still talk to that device even you are not using the app actively, right? I don't know, capturing the data or monitoring the status of some device or something like that.
Yeah, for this you can make some like a game ping pong to keep your device alive. It's possible. A lot of apps do that. For example, you can send small message every 50 milliseconds and to check are you okay, and you can do this. Also, what you can do to keep it alive, for example, if you have total background, total of app, total of phone, like a black screen. As far as I know, it's not possible to communicate. It's not possible to connect. It's just devices. It's also issue when developing some features.
Okay. We were talking about the device which we already have. My experience tells me that in some cases, when you develop an app, sometimes the device is not yet even developed. It's being in active production. I know, the hardware guys are working on that device. So what do we do in that case? Or if, for example, you just don't have the device because there are too few production devices and you need to do something. What can we do in that case? How can we test our app without having actual Bluetooth device?
Yeah, sure. It's a common problem for every developer who doing something with Bluetooth. And here we have different approaches. First of all, you can make your another iPhone like a peripheral. Also make a Mac like a device, Bluetooth device, why not? Or you can simply add unit tests and, it's always good to have unit tests and test everything in advance. But it's not real testing, but you can be sure that the whole formats, the coding and coding works perfect on your side. Yeah,
unit testing is something always being forgotten, but always proving to be important part. So you mentioned that your Mac or your iPhone can act as the peripheral or as the actual app. Let's maybe take one step back. So when we talk about the BLE and your actual device which you're communicating with, what's the typical way of exchanging the data? Again, it's not that we establishing the connection, just send something there and device sends something back. Is there or is it how we communicate with the device using the BLE protocol?
First of all, if you have BLE protocol, you can use Bluetooth core Bluetooth framework, and over this you can send messages. If you have a big size of message, you could trunk it in smaller packages and send. So first of all, you should encrypt encrypt your data to be safe. Also, you should think about size. Is it okay to send this amount of data on one package, or should you split it in two? And you can check format, of course. Again, if you have something special, and using core Bluetooth, you can just easily send a message to your Bluetooth device.
So when we look into core Bluetooth, it's always interesting to see that there is a when you establish the connection, then you can check for the devices for its characteristics, and then you can read and write those characteristics. So do you know what's that, and like how can we use that for the communication?
Yeah, every Bluetooth device has special characteristic, and you can get this characteristic through the advertisement, and then you can understand what kind of the device you have, and for example, change your connection protocol or something like this. Yeah, it's important one. It's important part, I could say, and. But in characteristic, put some important data. It's not safety, and also you can't add the big amount of data. I don't remember exact numbers, but yeah, some.
Yeah, usually it's just some values like strings or numbers and so on.
Just to differentiate some, for example, models or I don't know, firmware versions, something like this.
Yeah. When we talk about, well, you mentioned unit tests. Maybe you can give us a couple of ideas on what typical issues developers can face when they develop Bluetooth-enabled applications.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a lot of could be problems. First of all, from developers, what I faced from my experience, when you develop something with core Bluetooth, you should be super careful with central manager. You must have only one central manager in your app. It's super important because they can scan at the same time and fight to each other, and it will be unpredictable here. So central manager is one. Also, you should be you should start scanning only after when system is powered on. It's also important. Using a MAC address is dangerous, and it's not possible because it's in iOS. It's randomizable. It's random number. And it's better to use a UID, UID. And yes, iOS hide MAC address for privacy. Yeah. Also, you should take care about reconnection because Bluetooth Low Energy can reconnect anytime, no guarantee. And please implement some logic there. What else? Of course, again, it's background issues. When your app in the background, it's also always unpredictable how you can communicate with the device. And also you should be, if, for example, you develop your own protocol for Bluetooth communication, you should be careful with the frequency, how often and which amount of data you would like to send. For example, you don't need to send message just one by one, super fast, because then you can lose some of them. System will just lose some of them because Bluetooth has also some limits there.
Okay. When we talk about Bluetooth and we talk about iPhones, I've seen some of the devices which have connectivity with an iPhone. They have this badge or designation made for iPhone, or MFI for short. So this is the program Apple creates for those who develop devices, and also for those who develop some apps for these specific devices. Are you aware of this program? Did you work with that? Like, what's that? Like, what's the purpose of this program in general?
Yeah, so you mentioned MFI. Yeah, it's a technology which it's abbreviation for technology made for iPhone. It's called. Yes, Apple provided this technology because before it was really how we can work with accessories, and after that Apple provided this technology, and now we can work with accessories better. So how it works? Every device who has chip MFI can communicate to each other. And for this communication, we can implement special, we have special framework which you can use. It's EA accessory. And using this framework, you can easily check which accessory connected to your phone, and you can differentiate either to your device or not using special protocols. You can add these protocols on your app, on your info list, which is external device, your protocol you are supporting, and then you can communicate and connect to some accessory. So in under the hood, how works MFI, you can Apple give access to communicate in AEP2 channel, and amazing because you can't communicate in AEP2 channel with another technologies, with another protocols.
So when you enroll into MFI, you have more capabilities over the way how you communicate with the devices. Well, we can also add that MFI program is paid, and like it costs about like $100 per year. And also you need to submit some information for Apple to approve your access. And one more thing, which might be interesting, MFI also provides you. There is a portal for those who enrolled in the program. It provides you an access to the documentation, which can be useful for you. Like that could be documentation of the protocols, that could be documentation of the hardware. If you, for example, if you create a MagSafe accessory, they will provide you some details on the sizes, on the like anything like that. So there are a couple of things which might be useful. But since you had some experience with MFI, is it complicated to implement communications using frameworks which are provided with the MFI program? Like when you use these protocols, is it like, I don't know, like harder, easier than your typical like core Bluetooth frameworks, or it's just different?
It's just different, I could say. So yeah, good question. So to work with accessories, yeah, you can use this, again, this framework accessory. You can easily to observe two notification for accessory states was connected and disconnected, and then you can start. You can connect to the accessory and then start communication. For communication, it's also, I could say, works easy. You make a special session. In this session, you have two streams, one for writing data and one for reading data. And you just put your data in special format and send without any, like, of course, there are also some limits, but less than in Bluetooth Low Energy. And from my experience, it works much more faster. I don't know, maybe 3 times faster than just Bluetooth Low Energy.
Interesting. I was always interested in one more aspect of this. So when we develop iOS apps, we need to submit those apps for the review, right? And I don't know if you are able to share that, but still, if we create an app which works with a specific Bluetooth device, how do they review the app? Like, especially if the device, like, if you cannot send the device to Apple for the review, like, do they have some specific sessions for that? Like, I mean, you don't have to be very specific, but is it like it's you talk to the people who do the review, or like how it happens?
It depends. Could say sometimes Apple doesn't want to ask about some device and something special, but sometimes in special cases you need to prove that part with connection and this UI, probably logic. If you have something like some subscription or something like this, you should provide more information. Not send them device, but probably mock something and give them, or send video or screenshot and so on. Sometimes,
Yeah.
but not always.
That's actually interesting, because we also had similar cases where when we submitted app for the review, and it didn't have the device, but what they ask is to record the video of the application walkthrough. Like, you go through the app, you use some of the features which they cannot test, and then they just scan the app from the other perspective. Especially that might be similar if you have some financial app, or like, again, you cannot, like, if you do the app which handles your credit card or something, so they won't have the same card. So it seems that they in some cases they are quite flexible in terms of how to do the review of the app. But again, I think that's mostly case by case basis, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay, so we talked about the Bluetooth. We talked about the what MFI brings to the table for that. I'd like to talk about a couple of other aspects, mostly because they are still there. And again, I'm not sure if you worked with those, but maybe we can discuss that. So when we have two iOS devices nearby, that's a little bit different, and like, we still can use Bluetooth, right? We can establish the connection. We can like make one app being peripheral, another app being central, and like try to find them. But there are easier ways to do that. So and moreover, like, we all know that Bluetooth requires explicit user permission to communicate, and that sometimes some people might decide not to give, because it's if your device has access to the Bluetooth, it can scan the Bluetooth devices around you, and it can make some guesses on where you are, like where is your location, because it can compare those devices, like, are you in the same location or not, based on the devices which surround you. So some people might decide that they don't want to allow application to like look for the Bluetooth devices. So we have other protocols on the device which can be used, and one of the frameworks which allows us to communicate between two iOS devices, or in general two maybe Apple devices, let's put it that way, because the framework I'm talking about, it's a multi-peer connectivity framework. Which is like, I think it was like early on in the development. I mean, I think it's like maybe iOS 4, maybe 5, or maybe even before that. I actually, like, I can check the documentation, but I will not do that right now. But the idea is actually kind of similar. You can advertise your device around, and the other device can see that, and they establish the connection, and then you can essentially, you have a data channel where you can send messages one way and receive messages from that, and it even like can be established with the with some security on top of that. So it's like encrypts the communication, and it also has a ways of ensuring delivery of the package, or just sending them and allow them to be be lost during the communication. So did you have a chance to work with those?
No, I heard about this, and as far as I know, that Apple implemented this multi-peer connectivity for only Apple devices, and they are using mix of different ways of connection and communication. So inside, it's also Bluetooth Low Energy, MFI, and probably even Wi-Fi.
And the good thing that you as a developer don't need to think about that, because you essentially, you just say the service type, which is just a string, and the way for two apps to like find each other, they just use the service type as an identifier. But on the other hand, if you want to communicate with other platforms, you need to use other frameworks. You need to use some either access to the local network through like I know Bonjour services, which is the like again zero configuration approach, and like I don't know, create some other APIs to do. But multi-peer connectivity actually helps you to avoid all of that and just build some way for the devices to discover each other, establish the connection, hiding complexity of the Bluetooth, complexity of the Wi-Fi, of the IP addresses, anything. Like you just use the data channel, and you can establish the connections with several devices at the same time, which is also interesting. So if you build something which targets only the Apple ecosystem devices, so again, as I said, it's not just iPhone to iPhone. You can use that iPhone to Mac or iPhone to Apple TV or Vision Pro, whatever you have, and the framework is actually like it's really old, and if you look into that, it's like it has those delegate methods which you need to implement, and there are a couple of things which are built on top of that to like make it a little bit more modern. We have, by the way, if we talk about the modern things, we also have now the SharePlay, which, well, it's similar in some way. So it's like if you have a FaceTime call, you can send your data between apps on that call. Like if two apps are running on the two devices on the same FaceTime call, you can use that FaceTime call as the data transfer channel, and it looks again somewhat the same. You establish the connections, and you can establish the connection with multiple people on the FaceTime call. And it also like you can exchange data between the devices, hiding all the complexity of that stuff. But again, only for those who use FaceTime, and even FaceTime being supported on Android through the browser, you cannot use SharePlay for that. So it's just between the actual Apple devices. I would maybe like to ask you if, like, maybe we can just discuss that. We're talking about the Wi-Fi. So we also now have, like the latest iOS release now has the Wi-Fi aware. Yeah. So it's, well, in short, it's like peer-to-peer Wi-Fi connection to the device. And it's essentially like to have your device to communicate with the iPhone through the Wi-Fi. What do you think? Like, what will it catch up? Because again, you said Bluetooth LE was one of the purposes is to save the battery, and I'm pretty much sure using Wi-Fi is much more expensive in terms of battery.
Yeah, I can say this Wi-Fi aware. It's it's something similar to Bluetooth advertising, and iOS, you could say, implemented only partly this, and also, yeah, it's a nice idea to use two devices without router. It's we have established communication with two devices without router. It's nice, but let's see how far we can go with this technology. It sounds really interesting and promising.
And yeah, but so the Wi-Fi aware, it has two ways of establishing the connection, which again is interesting. So they have the accessory setup kit, which is, I mean, if anybody tried the home kit, when you add the accessory, there are like typical steps and kind of typical screens. You can now build something like that in your app. So the accessory setup kit provides you with multiple things to find the accessory you want to work with, establish the Wi-Fi connection, and I think it even provides the UI for that. So it's like essentially you can like do very very little in terms of like these setup screens, and then you can exchange data on using Wi-Fi. So that's one thing. And there are another framework which you can use with Wi-Fi aware is device discovery UI, which is, as I understand, again, I'm not quite sure here because I was like looking through the docs. It's essentially when you have two devices, active devices, like I know iPhone and maybe even other smartphone, which is maybe even like other like I don't know, Android device, for example, if that supports Wi-Fi aware, you probably will be able to establish a connection. And if that goes well, that might replace multi-peer connectivity for the cases when you want to communicate with the devices of different ecosystems. So again, I'm not fully sure about that yet. I mean, I was going through the docs and I didn't do any proof of concepts with that. But it seems that if implemented well, this might build like replacement for the multi-peer connectivity for the cases when you have, I don't know, Apple ecosystem devices, and also you have some devices from other ecosystems. But if they support Wi-Fi aware, you will probably be able to establish the connections between them.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's something into the future because these are only iOS, well, Apple OS 26 and up.
26, yeah, right.
Right, and before we wrap up, two more mentions, and if we talk about the communications, there are other things. So first of all, yeah, but we totally skipped the way that you can like establish socket connections to something. You can use this Bonjour directly, and you can scan the local network, like do some low-level connections. Those are still possible in iOS. You have an APIs for that. There are some things you need to be aware of. For example, you need to have a permission to access local network, which app will ask, and if user declines, then you will not be able to do that. But let's talk about two more protocols which are kind of interesting. So first of all, NFC. It's a still communication protocol. Like,
yeah, right.
Did you work with that at any time?
Probably a little bit. Yeah, I worked it some time ago with NFC for, for first trust. I used NFC to make pairing. And yeah, so I can see that this protocol is super light one, and also Apple a little bit hide some functionality there because of security issue, because we use this NFC for payment systems.
Yeah.
And, but for example, if you need to make some first trust with some device, you can use this. It's amazing. For example, for pre-pairing, for pairing, or setup flow, I don't know.
Yeah, and Apple even used that the same with when you want to set up, for example, Apple TV. You can tap your iPhone to the box itself, and then it will establish the initial trust, and then everything goes for. But again, they provide you with multiple options, but NFC is one of those. And yeah, Apple also provides you with the NFC reader, and I think even some writer APIs, so you can read and write NFC cards using Apple's protocols. But again, yes, as you said, they limit you with access to those protocols which are used in the payment systems. You can have access to those actually, and you just need the special entitlement, which you need to request, and you need to
register.
Yeah, you need to provide a lot of things. So, for example, as far as I know, we can have like bonus cards, which are similar to I don't know, like what you can have in a wallet, but in European Union, you can, for example, have your own wallet app, and therefore you can have payment cards there. So at least in European Union, you have access to those NFC protocols for the payment cards. We can argue if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but at least there is a possibility for some cases where you can use Apple Pay equivalents from other countries or other vendors. But I would say that this initial pairing and establishing trust with the device is, I think, really important one. And the only problem I had with NFC when we tried to use it is that the UI of the NFC reading is provided by the system, and you essentially cannot change that. So it was like you had this box saying like you can change the title, but it's essentially like you need to. It displayed like that your phone needs to like touch the something and so on. So it was at that time it was a little bit like I would say confusing. Maybe it still is, but there are a lot of things which you can do now. And NFC is a powerful thing for initial communication instead of scanning the QR code or something like that.
Yeah, right.
And last topic here, which is I think it's not yet it doesn't show the full value right now. It's ultra wideband. So we probably, like everybody, heard about AirTags, which are Bluetooth trackers which you can use, but they also have the ultra wideband, which provides very precise positioning. So it like shows the direction and the distance. And if you ever try to build something like positioning using Bluetooth beacons, you know that it's totally unreliable.
Yeah,
like
right. Agree.
So the ultra wideband solves that, and you cannot actually send any data through the ultra wideband right now, as far as I know. Like you use that for the positioning, and the Apple like showed you a couple of things, like you can play games with the hide and seek or something, like when you use the ultra wideband to find something, or you can use that to find your AirTag or like some other tracker. But interestingly, car automakers, they use ultra wideband now for the car keys, and that's actually very, very good, because if you if you're aware, but there are these ways of using big antenna to relay your car key to the car. So those who want to steal your car will go like nearby you, use the antenna, and then put another antenna near the car and open the car using that. So ultra wideband prevents that, because it actually it uses the protocol, and the protocol is built in a way so if the signal goes too long, then it means that you are far away, and it will not unlock the car, and it will not allow the car to start. So a couple of vendors already switching their car keys to ultra wideband, and that's again there is a car key in your phone which also uses ultra wideband to open the car instead of NFC. Again, as I said, we cannot currently send any data through the apps using ultra wideband, but I think will, as always happens with Apple, they give you more and more permissions to use the technology. Initially it's just closed and you cannot do anything, but then they loosen those restrictions and you have more access to that. Okay, I think that's
true.
All of the topics for the communications we wanted to discuss today. I would first of all like to thank you for coming here and talking about the.
Maybe let's summarize our whole.
So that's what I'm like. Yeah. So if you have anything to sum up on, give some ideas or suggestions to those who are starting to work with that, please.
Yeah. So. What I can say, we don't have one perfect protocol. We have a toolbox of protocols, and each protocol has special needs. And so maybe let's go through all protocols which we discussed today. Maybe you can support me with something.
Yeah.
So first was Bluetooth Classic. It's usual, traditional. We use it for audio, this protocol. Then BLE protocol, Bluetooth. We use it for sensor or some small devices. Then we also a little bit mentioned Wi-Fi, used for fast data, for large data, and so on. What else? We had multi-peer connectivity for Apple to Apple. Communications, and NFC we use for initial trust. So MFI, it's a certified accessory. We are using for certified accessory this protocol. And the last one, UWB,
Yeah.
UVB, we use for precise location.
Right. I would also maybe mention that if you have the accessory and if you make it MFI certified, I think that makes accessory like, I mean, like you would probably trust that accessory more, right? I mean, like again, if
Yep.
and I'm pretty much sure Apple has some requirements for the accessory to be MFI certified, but that also means that probably the accessory is secure and it uses the proper protocols and like it stores the data. So again, like if your accessory is MFI certified, then it means that it, like for the user, that means that this accessory more trustworthy. That's I would say if you are building an accessory, maybe you should consider going through that route. Again, that's just to make sure that the customers will see that accessory as something like good and trustworthy.
Yeah, right. Agree.
Okay, thank you very much. That was an interesting and quite eye-opening discussion on the communications. Hopefully we will see you maybe next time somewhere into the future. Maybe we will have some topics more. But again, thank you. Have a great. I don't know. By the way, this episode, I mean, I'm just looking into the calendar and I'm thinking like that's almost close to the new year. Maybe last question to you: do you expect something from Apple on this next year's announcements in terms of let's just stick for now for the communication? Just last question: like, do you expect something?
I'm waiting new MacBook Pro. To be honest, because I still have one and I'm waiting for new one.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's I'm personally me too. I'm like the M1 MacBook Pros like with the M1 Pro chip is so good that you actually like kind of don't need the new one, but you really want to have a better one and like.
Yeah, sometimes I feel that I need new one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's that's a good workflow to have. Like if you actually can top the performance of the M1. Hopefully you will get one. And that's. Thank you very much for those who are listening us or seeing us in YouTube. Please share your comments, leave us a reviews. I don't know, rate us in any platform you have access to. Thank you and. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, see you. Bye-bye.